Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, karibuni sana. I hope you're doing well. Hey, my assistant. My assistant is watching me right now. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you're doing well. This is the a late one. So I hope you're still up. And if you're sleeping, that's fine. We'll still give you what you need. Continue to give you what you need, right? All right, this is Kenyan Revolutionary. If this is your first time here, this channel is about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So go ahead and subscribe if this is your first time. And if you're subscribed already, you know the first order of business is to do what? Is to hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit it. Mara moja. We are still on the topic of the day. The big news today, which is kind of making rounds, is a hot topic. Hot off the oven. Hot, okay, off the press, as they say. The Blood Parliament. The documentary by the BBC that was released today or yesterday, which kind of depicts the Kenyan government in not so good light, showing Kenyans that, or rather revealing to Kenyans that KDF, along with the police force, were involved in the brutal shooting of the Gen Z when they went to protest on June 25th last year. Remember, Occupy Parliament? Yes, that is what I'm referring to. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, and comments, without further ado, I want to share with you the reaction by majority of Kenyans. Sorry, guys. This is a little bit noise over there. So, poleni sana. So, anyway, like I said, let's just review and see how people are reacting to this. There's so much. There's some people who are actually, the latest news that I just heard right now is that, the government. What are you doing? Huh? Anyway, sorry, guys. So the latest news I've heard that the government has stopped the screening or the broadcasting of this BBC piece. For me personally, I don't think it's something that will kind of worry the government. Some people might take it that way. I mean, different people have different interpretation of how this whole documentary might affect the government or not. To me personally, I don't think it does a lot of damage to the government. I think, if anything, it might be something that the government might be looking forward to try to demonize the KDF, who were previously viewed as the people-friendly, army or whatever, defense forces, okay? But apparently now it is more than clear that, some faction, I wouldn't say the whole of the defense forces, Kenya defense forces were out there supporting this whole idea of gunning down the youth. I just feel like there's a particular faction within the Kenya defense forces that were involved in these murderous activities of gunning down the youth in June 25th. But let me just take you to the X pages and let's just see a couple of reactions from different people reacting to this. From the influencers to just the average Joe reacting to this whole thing. Like I said, if you missed my live this morning, I mentioned that, again, the whole thing, the whole BBC thing, to me, I wasn't impressed. They hyped it up, telling us that they're revealing who did the actual crimes of killing these Gen Zs. But in reality, they didn't identify anything. There was only one guy who was identified as John Kiboy or something, Kaboy, whatever the case is. But besides that, they couldn't quite they couldn't quite identify the two culprits in the documentary. The documentary is only 37 minutes. I won't play it here because, of course, of copyright reasons. So I won't play it here. But again, it's on YouTube. Depending on where you are, I've just heard news that in Kenya, the government has made calls and told different media outlets probably following Francis Atwoli's advice to try to control this documentary not to be aired. So it might be very hard for you to kind of get a hold of it. But if you do want to see it and you can't get to see it, get a VPN and you can watch it from other places. But anyway, let's get to the reactions by different people, and I'll start with Miguna. I think with Miguna is very interesting because when there was the killing in, I believe it was Githurai. Remember when people went to CBD and all that stuff happened, and then later that night, remember Boniface Mwangi and Hanifa, who happened to be the people who are the two activists who are being featured there, and also with a young man, I forgot his name, but he was the real one. But anyway, these two were the ones who were telling the Gen Zs to go home because, the Gen Zs were talking about they wanted to go to State House. They were saying the next stop is State House, to enter State House. And Boniface Mwangi and Hanifa were telling people, do not go to State House, rudini nyumbani. And once people got to them tag, Githurai to be specific, there was hundreds of youth who were gunned down by the so-called military. And Miguna said this. He said that he's receiving reports from his sources, that his contacts on the ground, that the military were involved in this gunning down of the Gen Zs in Githurai, and they were being cremated the same night. Okay, it was a massacre basically. Okay, and we should shed more light into that. And the two very people who were, asking for evidence, were questioning this whole thing, was none other than Hanifa and Boniface Mwangi, the People's Watchman, another con job, a commercial activist, pretender, flat-footed pretender. Now, this has come, time has vindicated Miguna, because now it is more than clear that, the military, the KDF, were involved in all this. Let's start by his tweet, then we shall go on and read other people's tweets. Are we ready, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, go ahead and like the video so we can get started. Let's get started. Let me share with you the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. And also some video reaction. So go ahead and like the video, like the video. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's read a couple of tweets, because it's interesting to hear different views from different people of different social economic class, intellectual capacity, or whatever the case is. All right. Now, let's start. Miguna's, actually, he just tweeted 56 minutes ago, almost an hour ago, saying, you guys can see it there, right? I told Tyrant Ruto this in May 2023. Listen to Kenyans and withdraw the finance bill. Miguna tells Ruto. He just reminds us of the tweet that he told Ruto. But I want to go to a specific one that has something to do with this BBC documentary that just came out. So let me go to that one. Let me go to his page. As soon as it loads up, I'll be more than happy to share it with you. So bear with me because my computer is a bit slow. Karibuni. Vijana, wazee, and all that. Yeah, there were people who are making fun of Caswell, saying that thank God Caswell is not involved in this, was not involved in this BBC thing. Because Caswell, yokwa kimbelembele, he wants to be, in the middle of everything. So I thought that was funny. But anyway, let's get to the real stuff that I really want to talk about right now. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Are we ready? Here is Miguna's page. Let's just read it as soon as my computer unfortunately, it's a little bit slow. Like the video, guys. Like the video. I can see people coming in. Please take your time. Just go ahead and like the video. Weka like hapo mara moja. Now, kama uja subscribe again, please do so with much ceremony, okay? As we continue to give you what you need. All right. Here it is. 19 minutes ago, Miguna praises this young man who was also part of the Ninio He was the activist, the real activist, in my opinion, not Hanifa and Boniface Mwangi. His name is Alan Ademba. Miguna says, the fearless freedom fighter who lived to tell. Let's plaster his face everywhere to energize the revolution and immortalize his example. Yes, we could see him even in that Nino documentary. He was actually there, part of it. He was helping his comrades when the ones that got injured. He was helping them up and, trying to move them to safety. Okay. And he got really emotional. There's a time when he was, he asked the cameraman, just give me a minute. He was like holding his. I felt for him. I felt the pain. Okay. You could see this guy was really, he lived it. Unlike Hanifa, we never saw Hanifa or Boniface Mwangi at any time of the protest, helping out somebody or whatever the case is. They were just yelling and whatever the case is. Oh, yeah. Karibu sana Yosef Beidas. Nice seeing you, brother. Make sure you like the video. Then 29 minutes ago, Miguna said, freedom fighters demand that Larry Madowo and CNN should publish the images and videos they took during the June 25th, 2024 protest and help us identify all the murderers of our heroes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, this is something I will talk about it next time. I won't take it about now. This is alleged. It's rumored that Ruto has pardoned Joey Irungu. Remember, I had a story about Joey Irungu some times back, and I told you who might have been the actual perpetrator of the crime in Joey Irungu's case. It's deeper, okay? But I won't get into that. Now, it's been alleged that Ruto has pardoned him, okay? I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's a bit unfortunate, okay? It's a bit unfortunate if that is true. Now, let's move on. Here is Saitabao said something. Miguna is Sudan saga. What is happening in Sudan, Nani Yosef? I will come to that Sudan too. Saitabao Kanchori, remember, is the one who came up with that book, a pamphlet, writing about how ODM lost the elections in 2022. Yeah, whatever. He was pointing the finger his finger, blaming the Jubilee faction of Azimio. But anyway, that's something else. Saitabao wrote something and said, the Githurai massacre was never a KDF affair. This is something that Saitabao wrote on July 14th, 2024, after the June 25th event. Saitabao, he was refuting the idea that KDF was involved. So here he was saying last year, the Githurai massacre was never a KDF affair, but that of rogue police as a scare tactic that KDF will be ruthless. KDF is with the people. Let's get our messaging right, even as we encourage our people to complete this revolution. Now, Meguna kind of reminds us and brings back Saitabao's Ninio by reminding us that these are some of the charlatans who are throwing stones at me because they are naturally gullible. They were gullible, okay? Now, we can have a debate on that because there are a good number of people who thought that the army were with the people, including yours truly. I thought really, to me, I actually believe that, I still believe that there's a faction. The majority of the KDF are with the people, but I think Ruto chose a specific unit, personnel, to do his dirt, to do the killing. That's what I truly believe. I don't think that majority of these KDF people were okay or gleefully participated in this killing of these Gen Zs. I think Ruto had his appointment, people who actually he handpicked to do this, or a special unit that he wanted to carry out this. Okay. Now, we're going to also ask the questions like, who authorized the June 25th, 2024 deployment of the KDF soldiers on Kenyan streets? Under what law? Okay. He asked these questions. These are the questions that we should be asking. Okay. Kuna maneno, deep break it down, bro. Yusuf, yes, I will. ile ya Joe ile ni kali sana. It might be off topic, but anyway, so here it is. He's responding to something else. Now, let's get to some other tweets. Let's get to other tweets, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. We want to get to other tweets that are more also very interesting. Let me go to my page. I think there's some that I saved there. Make sure you like the video, guys. Do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. I won't be here very long. I don't want to keep you from sleeping. I know it's late in Kenya, so muzidi kulike na mkiendelea ninio. Abdel Nasser is still having a fight with Uhuru Kenyatta about what Uhuru Kenyatta said. We are going to cover that tomorrow, not today. Today we want to just kind of see the reaction of a majority of Kenyans talking about this whole ninio. I like this quote here by Nani, what's his freaking name? Saying something about democracy. Listen to this. I like this clip, and I saved it because I want majority of Kenyans to understand this. This whole idea of democracy, why democracy does not work, especially in Africa. Democracy is a mirage. It's a hoax. It's not practical. There's no real change that can come through the ballot. That's the argument. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that it's either ballots or bullets like Malcolm X. I'm just saying if you really want change, there has to be a revolution, okay? There's no change without revolution. Power. All right, let's watch this video real quick. I'll go back to the reaction of Nenio, but I just want you to get that. I want this to be ingrained in your brain, okay? So as we move forward and watch this, watch all the reaction. To make poor people think you can radically have it in your somewhere in your conscious, at the back of your head, mind, knowing that transform your reality. If voting could change anything, voting would be illegal. Democracy is a scam. Democracy is a system created by those in power to make poor people think you can radically transform your reality without violence and revolution. That's all democracy. That's why America says we got to make the world safe for democracy. Why you got to make the world safe for democracy? Because if most of the people in the world woke up, they would understand a ballot ain't going to change shit. Bullets do. Show me a revolution, queen, that's ever changed anything without. Show me a change that's ever come through elections and not revolution. Did the Chinese Revolution come through elections? No. Did the Russian Revolution come through elections? No. Did the Cuban Revolution come through elections? No. Did the American Revolution come through elections? No. Did the African There has never been a revolution in human history where people was able to change their conditions by voting for somebody. Do you hear that? I'm not saying voting cannot be, practical, but what I'm trying to say is this, especially in the Kenyan context, mambo ya kupiga kura is a joke. It's a scam. So let's not expect that. But anyway, let's go on. I see you. Yes, in your conscious, the God in you, Christ in you. Yes, I see you. Joseph Bedas, I agree with you. So here it is. This young man, I like what he's saying. BBC is responding to the Ninio. Is responding to, of course, the BBC, the New Blood Parliament. Let's listen to what he has to say about that. His take, he has an unusual take, an interesting one, may I say. All right, here it is. If my computer will allow me to.
Okay, it's the morning of April 28th. It's a few minutes to 7 a.m. Okay, it's the morning of April 28th. It's a few minutes to 7 a.m. And I've just watched the BBC documentary. I have not actually watched it. I've skipped through it because everything I told you was going to happen or how they're going to frame it, they've done exactly that. In fact, BBC have gone as far. I didn't think they're this stupid. I told you BBC, it's a Getheri media outlet. It's just in many countries, okay? I didn't actually think they are going to platform a politician. Oh, Babu Owino is the voice of reason in the documentary, the one who shot a DJ on CCTV. He's contributing. He's giving his opinion. You know, you know, in the UK, or where BBC's HQs are, you know, they cannot platform someone who's been caught on shooting just someone for no. He'd actually be in jail already. Okay, but now he's the voice of reason. Oh my goodness, mapanya za serikali akina Hanif and Boniface Mwangi, now those ones. Yani, I actually told you guys that the theme that's going to be in that documentary is going to be defeatist, and they're going to show you images of dead protesters. By the BBC is so shameless, they've gone as far as showing videos of one of the mothers of the victims of extrajudicial killings. Wanamuuliza like, oh, what do you think? How are you feeling? She's burying her kid. How do you think she's feeling? Okay, but that was the intent of the documentary. That was the intent. Okay, defeatist, lethargic guy. Oh, they've not even talked about how mobilization happened. They're doing a lot of CG shots to show. Bro, it's and I told you this was never about us. I hope Saim Meona. I hope you're now starting to see what we usually say, Harper.
Yes, I like that, comrade. I share the same sentiments as him. I said it. The BBC, it was as if it was discouraging people. Like it was a depressing piece. Not depressing because uh, just people died or whatever the case. But there was no sense of how about the call for justice for these young folks, the call for justice for whoever is behind all these killings, the call of justice, for this Ruto rogue government to step down and be brought to justice for what they did to these young folks. Okay, there's none of like that. We had a bunch of activists, and with the exception of that young man, I forgot his name, Adana, whatever the case is, the commercial activists, Boniface Mwangi and Hanefa, they never once said, we should fight for justice for, so and so. Okay, they were just there, I mean, yeah. So you can see people are reacting, and they're obviously not happy about what's happening. Okay. And this is not it. Today, we just heard there were 5 people who were killed in, where was it? Where was that? In is it Kilgoris or something? I don't know. Okay. I mean, yes, these people are crooks. So you expect to go to the voting station on August 2026 or 2027, whichever date they're going to have this, and expect Ruto to be defeated, and we shall have a peaceful transition government, peaceful transition of power from one government, one administration to the other. No, this it won't. It never works that way in Kenya, at least. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, people are reacting. The overall view, majority of the view from what I've seen from most Kenyans, they did not receive this whole BBC thing with positively. Of course, there are those who are buying into the narrative that of course KDF were involved, but I'm just saying watu wanakufa moyo. People are just like, tunateseka, or, which I get, but I think that's what the BBC actually wanted. There's one more that I wanted to show you guys before, but my computer is too slow today, okay? But anyway, here is Francis Guy to say something that I wanted to say. But anyway, guys, I won't keep you, Ninio. Joseph Baders, thank you so much for joining me. It's a little bit too late, so I will just stop here for today. Tomorrow, I'll come with some more stuff. We shall talk about Uhuru's pronouncement and the reaction thereof. We shall talk about the ridiculous broad-based government that is falling apart, and many more. So join me, put your notification on, like the video so you're going to watch this in repeat. Sawa, shukran Bedas, shukran. I thank you for joining me in the chat. And others that are going to watch this on repeat. I was going to stay a little longer, but this computer is way too slow. I can't play all the stuff that I wanted to play and talk about everything that I wanted to talk. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. Tuonane kesho, tomorrow. So put that notification on so every time I come in, you can always find me. And if it's your first time, please go ahead and subscribe, share, comment, and, share with your friends and like the video. That's the first order of business. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Joseph, for your support. Tumetoka mbali. I've seen you for a while. Thank you for being an ardent supporter of the channel. Shukran. Rebel salute to you, Mr. Joseph Baders. I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye. Peace.